one dream, one wish. If you want it, gotta go over the top.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episodes 918 to 921. So this is the first reaction for our final One Piece week. This is the final week we're going to have a One Piece week because if we keep going at the rate we're going, we are going to be catching up in May. We will be fully caught up to the series. And it's insane to think about. Because it feels like just yesterday I was starting Whole Cake Island. And yet that was so long ago at this point. But it's like, now we're already in Wano, and it's already getting on to the second act. The first act was already really good. And the way it ended, like, holy shit. You guys saw my reactions to that. Like, damn. I had reactions to that. But I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. Because that was only our first battle with Kaido in this arc. And much like Luffy's first battle against Crocodile in Alabasta, he got his shit handed to him. Though this time he actually put up a little bit more of a fight, to be fair. His first fight with Crocodile was a lot more one-sided. But to be fair, Kaido was drunk. If Kaido had been sober the entire time, it wouldn't have lasted that long and Luffy wouldn't have stood a chance. Because it's made very clear once Kaido's sobered up, that's when he completely took over the fights and just destroyed Luffy in one hit. So where we left off, we did find out Otama is safe. Well, she's hurt badly, but she'll survive. She's with Duke Dogstorm, and she's gonna be okay. And God, easily the most stressed out I've been in this series. And meanwhile, Luffy's been taken to prison, and he's been imprisoned with Eustace Kid. So that's going to be fun to see how that goes. And there's also someone else there who might be one of the samurai that they were supposed to be looking for. Might not. Hard to say. Everyone else survived Kaido's initial attack on Oden Castle, which is just obliterated. And it looks like we're just going to kind of have to move on at this point. We're going to have to go with the missions of finding the different samurai, continue to find the people with the moon on their ankles and everything. And I do hope we see more of these other characters who are working under Orochi that we met. The tax collector man who was at Robin's geisha studio, as well as the snake teacher. And I really love, I think I mentioned this in something else. I don't know if it was the last, it might have been the last One Piece reaction, actually. But I'll mention it here again. I just love that there's two things I've seen recently now that are based off of the same Japanese myth. There's this Japanese myth, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but there's this mythological creature who is like this woman whose neck can stretch out like very much snake-like and stuff. And now there's two things just recently that I've seen with that in it. One Piece with this school teacher, and funny enough, another school teacher, but in Little Nightmares 2. Which, by the way, so far from what I've seen of it, is fantastic. I'm not great at playing horror games, but I love to watch them, and it looks so good. Like, graphically, it looks amazing. But either way, yeah, there's a snake, stretchy neck teacher in that too, and it's like, that's weird that I just happened to see two of those right in the same time frame. And the fact that they're both teachers also weirds me the fuck out, but it's like, maybe that's part of the myth, and maybe I just don't know that part. It's possible. But that's really funny to me. Um, the only big difference is that the teacher in One Piece, the snake teacher in One Piece, is much cuter. Um, but I want to see more of them. There's also this blue-haired woman who was playing the musical instrument, who we saw at the beginning and end of Act One, who I still think has to be Momo's sister, because we saw her stay behind with Momo's mother in the past before the others were all sent to the future. One, we don't know why that decision was made, so there must be a reason. But also, this would also mean that she could be the girl we saw playing the instrument. Because I swear in that flashback she had the same hair color. I am not crazy, right? I swear that was the case. Um, Zoro, meanwhile, is kind of off. He kind of got lost while trying to get back to them, to the rest of them. So he doesn't even know what's going on with them and Kaido and everything. But everyone had found out that Luffy fought Kaido, and the meme face came about. And so, yeah, it's just shit's hit the fan, to put it simply. Shit has hit the fan, and it's going to be tough going forward. I'm just wondering, like, with this being a multi-act arc, like specifically segmented this way. Like even the manga is segmented this way. I watched Totally Not Mark's reaction to, or his review rather, of Act One of the manga, and apparently the manga is the same way. I haven't watched his Act Two or Beyond or anything, just the Act One video. Um, but yeah, it's like, which by the way I think is actually blocked on his YouTube channel. I got access to his drive and everything, so I can actually like just access it through there. Any videos that he has blocked. But yeah, anyway, um, and yeah, it's like even the manga was structured this way, which is apparently it's supposed to be based on like the actual structure of a traditional kabuki play, which I mean I didn't know that like at all, so kind of took me a little bit by surprise, but also at the same time I can definitely see that, and that makes just so much sense for the style. Um, and he Mark also pointed out in his video that there is some strong, very strong connections between how this arc is being done and how the villains are running things and everything to the Japanese shogunate. And it's like, oh my god, he's right. And it's like that's something I should know from other anime and other various just things I've read and seen and all. It's like, oh yeah, you're actually completely spot on there. I didn't even think about that. Um, but yeah, so shit's gone bad. That's a big gist of it. And we're about to enter Act Two. Now, I don't know when um, or technically we've already entered Act Two, I think, because I think we ended Act One like partway through the reactions. Anyways, I don't know when the opening is going to change. I know there is another opening, but I don't know when it actually changes. Um, but we'll just continue going for now. And we'll continue to watch uh, the first episode, the opening for the first episode. Um, but yeah, not really much else to say going into this. I'm just really excited for where Act Two is going to head. I'm really interested to see just what they do going forward, because there's just so much possibility with this arc. I don't even know what to expect exactly. Um, but Mark, totally not Mark, did say it in his video, and I've already kind of mentioned it as well, but it's like this could easily surpass all other arcs in the series. And honestly, for me, I'm already kind of on board with the idea that it has, for me personally. Um, Honestly, I just love it that much already. It's just everything about it has been phenomenal. So I can only imagine how it's going to ramp up. Because thinking about it, from a typical multi act structure, the first act is always just the build up. It's like it's always the less exciting act because it's literally just building everything up. And it's like, if this is the case, if this has all just been build up and the exciting stuff hasn't even begun, like, holy shit, we're in for a ride. But I'm all good with that. I mean, no, no complaints here. Um, we also haven't actually seen Orochi yet, so we might see him going forward in this act. Um, we'll see more with Kaido's group, and just continue to just see how our heroes get past all the issues and everything. We have some strong allies, but you know, it can be tough. It can be tough. I'm excited though. I'm excited to once again see more of our friends that we haven't seen for a while. Because Act One had so much focus on Luffy and them and all, and we got to see a lot of Zoro, but like Robin, Usopp, and Frankie specifically were only shown a couple of times, and for very short like time each time. So it's like it's a little disappointing that we didn't get to see more of them. I would love to have seen more of them, and I hope we get to see more going into Act Two. Um, it looks like they're all. Oh, excuse me. It looks like they're all doing important work. Robin is using her position as a geisha to find out information and possibly get a um, audience with Orochi himself. Frankie is trying to find out information on blueprints and stuff. And Usopp is just directly searching for people with the tattoo to give them the slip of paper that has the symbol for the fire festival in it. So everyone is actively doing something, and I like that. But I actually want to see more of them, especially Robin because best girl. But I do really want to see more Frankie and Usopp too, because I like Usopp, and I just really want to see more of him. But Frankie especially just really has not been at the top of his game since the time skip started. He's just kind of fallen as a character for me, and I really want Wano to help with that. I know Zoro's going to have a huge focus. I get that, but at the same time, I really want there to be more focus on other characters too, and Frankie being one of them. We'll see. We'll see. But in the meantime, we're just going to get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, we have now officially met the person who plays us in and out of the acts, Komurasaki, who might be the sister of Momonosuke. Might. Um, Komurasaki is the biggest idol of Wano country. She is a courtesan, which, for those who may not know, even though I think it was pretty well explained here, but just in case, because not everyone knows what the word courtesan means. A courtesan is basically a prostitute for the wealthy. Someone who, she's a sex worker, she's a prostitute, specifically for wealthy clients. Um, so it's interesting that One Piece is bringing this kind of thing into the series, that Oda's introducing this. But hey, why not? I mean, this kind of thing was around in Japan, so yeah, it makes sense. During the time period that this is like based around and everything. Um, so Komurasaki is interesting so far. She seems like there's two aspects to her, and either or both could be true. One, she said herself she doesn't like men, not in a like romantic or sexual sense, just in terms of she just doesn't like men, and that she sees them only as useful for lining her pockets. But there's also the sense here of something maybe otherwise, and that she might not even be being completely truthful in what she said. Because her clients here, if we're to assume the other two are the same as this old guy, were horribly shitty people. The old guy, we know for sure, was extremely terrible. He would take advantage of people. Like there's this one girl who apparently her someone in her family died, and he lent her money for the funeral, and then asked for it back double, like twice as much back instead of just the normal amount that he lent her, which is an extremely shitty thing to do, and unfortunately is very realistic. Like a lot of cultures around the world have had people who did that. Tax collectors, loan sharks, all kinds of people like that throughout all of history. Even modern day, there are people who still do shit like that. So it's a very realistic depiction of real scummy pieces of shit there. um, but we see how not only how much he valued money and everything, and valued his position and power, but we also saw how quick he was willing to throw everything aside for what basically amounted to as a sexual fling. He was willing to throw aside his family, his house, his possessions, everything for a courtesan. That's not admirable, like at all. That's actually really fucked up if you think about it. So I'm thinking there might be a side to her, might be a side to the Oiron here, where she's actually she just it's not that she hates men specifically, it's not like that kind of thing. It's more that she hates these kinds of men who live in the flower capital, these kinds of rich, scummy pieces of shit who take advantage of others and treat people like livestock or as ways to get money. So she kind of does the same to them. That's why I'm kind of thinking it might be like a little of both. It's not so much. It's not that she was lying with what she said. It's more like there's more to it. Um, that's how I'm kind of getting this at first, or at the moment. But it also seems like it's not something that she's just like it's only her doing it, because it seems like all the other courtesans and everyone at the place, the house, the building. I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it said, but it seemed like all of them knew about it and were like just kind of messing around with him as well and everything. So yeah, that's uh that's fun. These episodes also gave us some other stuff though. So we got to see more into the prison. So let's talk about that. I'm not going to like go episode by episode here because it's going to be annoying to try and remember which episode had every little bit in it. But and I'm probably not going to cover everything here, but I'm going to try to cover as much as I can remember off the top of my head. Um, so in the prison, Luffy is hauling blocks, mining, and doing shit like that. And it seems like for every block he hauls during the day, he gets a ticket, like this little slip of paper, and he can exchange that for a dumpling. One ticket per just giant stone block moved. He ends up he ends up struggling with it at first, especially because of the sea prism stone handcuffs. You know, if he didn't have those on, he wouldn't have much of any trouble. But then he sees Eustace Kid, who he shares a cell with, carrying a bunch of them no problem and getting a shit ton of dumplings as a result. This fuels him and makes him work harder to be able to do the same. And they start competing with each other at the same time, which is great. I just love that because it's perfectly in character with them. From the little bit we've seen of Eustace Kid up to this point, and from what we definitely know of Luffy, it's like, oh yeah, they would definitely compete over this. um, so they get ending up one of the days they get all of the dumplings, like every dumpling, except three. I guess there were three left. Um, but this pisses off one of the headliners, who's vice warden of the prison camp, and he's a hippo dude. He gets angry at them, tries to start a fight. They end up fighting him inside the mouth of the hippo body part thing that the smile fruit caused. And because they fought inside the mouth, there were no witnesses to what they did. I really like how they played that. And Luffy also wanted to fight the dude because he was hurting the old man we saw. And in the midst of all that, just suddenly Caribou. I'm still shook by that. Just how casual of a reveal that was. Of all characters to bring back, to Caribou of all characters. Why? Why Caribou? Um, but so after that and everything, we see that Raizo is in communication with Luffy, trying to get the key to the cuffs and everything. But the fact that Luffy is, and Kid too as well, the fact that they are getting so strong even with the cuffs on is going to show how much stronger they get with them off. It's kind of a similar idea to like characters in like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto wearing like weighted clothing. Like you see Rock Lee wearing the weighted arm and leg bands in Naruto, or you see like weighted clothing in Dragon Ball Z and stuff, and it's like it's the same kind of thing. It hinders their power, and they can be really strong with it too. But once they take it off, it's like their power, their speed, all of that like just increases exponentially. And I feel like that's what's going to happen here. Luffy and Kid are still getting so strong, so much stronger with the cuffs on. That is not only just it's not that it's keeping them weaker. It's actually actively weakening them because they're devil fruit users. It's actually weakening their bodies. It's not, the cuffs themselves wouldn't affect a normal person in that way. But because they're devil fruit users, it's actually affecting them really greatly. Like it's not quite the same thing as the weighted clothing, but it's the same idea, I guess you could say. The fact that they're able to get so strong and work past that, it's not just a strength thing. It's literally like this big surprising thing because of, you know, because of everything happening with the devil fruit powers and whatnot and the sea prism stone. So yeah, that's really, really interesting. And I'm going to be excited to see where that goes. Meanwhile, we have our other crew members doing some things. Nami is with, her name is escaping me. The one Kunoichi, the mature Kunoichi chick. Her name's escaping me, yeah. But they're doing some spy work, looking out for some information. And they get it. So there is that. Meanwhile, Sanji has reunited with Robin, Frankie, and Usopp. He's opened up a soba noodle shop, in the middle of the flower capital and is becoming really popular specifically with the ladies. Like specifically, it's like the his all of his customers are women, and not out of really any reason, I guess, other than it's kind of hinted maybe the ingredients. Like Frankie was like saying something like, "Oh, if you put like some more meat or spice in it or whatnot, it would attract more guys or something." So maybe I don't know what that's supposed to mean because it's like that's not how food works. That's not how anything works. There aren't like different foods and spice levels and whatnot that are only for guys or whatnot. That's not how that works. There are so many women who can handle spice just as much, if not even better, than plenty of guys. So it's like that doesn't make much sense to me, but whatever. Um, they end up meeting this young girl who always has this giant ass smile on her face and is laughing a lot. She's very happy. She has a very contagious happiness to her. She's funny. She's making everyone around her laugh, from Robin to Sanji, Frankie, all of them. They're just all laughing their ass off, and genuine laughter too. It'd be interesting if that ended up being some kind of devil fruit, but either way, she's adorable. Otoko, I believe her name was. Um, she's really cute. I love her infectious energy. And she is actually a or not advisor. That's not the word. Um, God, I'm just gonna say advisor now because I can't think of the word. I'm blanking on it, but she's an advisor to Komurasaki. So she's like helping along and everything, and Komurasaki seems to care for her. Like she seemed to be worried about her not being there. So there is that. Um, but Sanji ends up after Otoko ends up having her soba knocked out of her hands before she can even try it by some punks who are just like trying to uh, get Sanji to pay protection money for having a shop in their turf, which is it's ridiculous how realistic that is. Um, but Sanji ends up beating them up with a little help from Frankie doing a fucking suplex because that's amazing. Um, but Sanji beats them up, and they apparently work for the taxman, so that's interesting. And apparently, Queen, one of the big guns, like up there with Jack and everything. Apparently, King and Queen, obviously, based on the playing cards and everything, so obviously they're going to be much higher ranked than Jack. We get to see a tiny bit of them in one of these episodes as well. But apparently, the taxman is in direct contact with Queen, and so they're gonna stick some assassins on Sanji or something. So that's gonna be interesting to see where that goes. Um, and of course, we had Duke, Duke, Kinemon, and the others trying to convince Ashura to join them, but we can clearly see that Ashura isn't really on board with this. We see, and we do get to see why. We don't get all the details, but we are basically told after Odin's death, when all of the other samurai, when the other samurai disappeared and everything was sent into the future, Ashura lost hope. He lost faith in the samurai, and because he was never actually serving Odin and the Kazuki family, he never felt like he had to remain loyal after that. He felt betrayed. He felt like everything, like the samurai that had disappeared, had just abandoned Wano. And after seeing how Wano had changed under Orochi and Kaido's rule, at that point he basically just said, "Fuck it, nothing matters anymore. I'm just going to be a thief," which is kind of how he started. So be a thief again, I guess. Um, it's actually really sad when you think about it. Because going through 20 years, having felt like these samurai have abandoned you because of you not knowing the truth, 20 years of seeing the country that you did one time serve just fall to ruin and have all this horrible shit happen. It's going to make you lose faith. It is. So I get it, and I do feel bad for him. And I assume at some point he will change his mind. I just don't know how it's going to happen. And speaking of that, he's not the only one we see getting the message told to him. We see um, that multiple other people around the Flower Capital are being slipped the little piece of paper about the fire festival and everything. Um, and through them talking and stuff, we get that some of them are on board with it, but some of them are not sure. Some of them just feel like maybe if it was 10 years ago, it's like, but now, maybe not as much. Uh, and it's kind of the same thing. Some of them have just been losing hope, and you got to realize that not everyone, even who has a moon tattoo still, is going to be on board. It's not going to be that easy. So we're gonna just have to see how many they can get. We did see at least one guy who was super on board with it. So there is that at least. It's not a hopeless cause by any means. But yeah, it's like these episodes were really good and really started Act Two off well. Just getting to showcase everybody doing stuff, getting to see more, much more actually, of Frankie, Usopp, and Robin, which I definitely wanted. Finally getting to actually meet Komurasaki, getting to actually like see her and find out about her, other than just having briefly been shown her in like the opening and ending of Act One and the opening of Act Two. um, and we got some big info going forward on how things are possibly going to progress. So yeah, we got some interesting stuff happening. And it's going to be really interesting to see where it goes from here, to see what happens next. I'm just really glad Otama's okay and that she's being cared for by Chopper and the Mink tribe doctors. It's just like it feels so good that she's okay. And she didn't even get that hurt. We find out just some scrapes and scratches and all. Um, I assume it's because Speed probably took the brunt of the attack when she was defending Otama. Luckily, but the fact that Otama still got hurt at all, the fact that she got so scared to be just completely passed out for so long, it's like, geez, it pisses me off and makes me want to see Kaido go down even more. And that's the thing. I think I talked about it last time too. But with Act One, it made us care about these characters. It made us really quickly care about Otama, care about Okiku, care about Wano as a whole, as a country. And it's like without too much effort, we became attached. And that's amazing, and that it was that easy. And One Piece has always been really good at that because One Piece and Oda Sensei specifically have been always amazing at characters and making you grow attached to these characters. Like Rough Senpai recently in one of his videos, as I've been watching through his reactions on Patreon and stuff, even noted that that's one thing about the series, about One Piece, that he gets emotionally attached to these characters. And it's like, yeah, like very much so. Like I've obviously known that for a long time, being a long time fan of the series. Especially considering my favorite moment has always been the Robin "I Want to Live" declaration. Um, so yeah, it's like I've always known about the emotional attachment with these characters, and definitely have felt it myself. So I get it. But still, the way they've done it in Wano, the way Oda's done it in Wano so far with Otama and all these other characters, it's just been unbelievably strong. Like you guys saw how I reacted when I thought Otama was killed by Kaido. It's like I was panicking. I was extremely upset. And the same thing would have happened if I thought that would have happened to Otsuru or Okiku or any of them, really. Any of these characters we've grown to love and care about in such a short time, but still. I'm just really relieved that she's okay. Ugh. But yeah, this One Piece week, this final One Piece week, has started off with quite a bang. Can't wait to see where the rest of it goes. But for now, tell me in the comments below what you thought of these 4 episodes of One Piece, and thank you so much for tuning in. Just as a reminder, this entire week, Monday through Friday, is a One Piece week, so the entire week is nothing but One Piece up until Saturday. Once Saturday comes, everything from that point on is normal. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of the week, and next week we will be back to everything normal. So, expect that. We will be back to all the other shows we react to. Um, but yeah, like I said at the beginning, with this, we will, if we keep going at the same, the same. Why is my mind blanking on words today? If we keep going at the same pace that we have been, we will catch up by May. Like, it just will happen. And I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited for the prospect of being caught up. Um, Even though it is gonna cut it down to like an episode a week since we'll be caught up and we'll be reacting weekly, but still, I just can't wait to see where this arc goes. It's like I said, with Act One alone, it already had been made a contender for my favorite arc of the series, which has been Arlong Park pretty much forever since I first saw Arlong Park. Nothing has been able to topple that for me. But this, I honestly, I think it will. Honestly, I'm pretty like I'm over 95% certain it will. Like with how it's been going and how it's set up to continue going, I don't see how it wouldn't. um, but yeah, I'm excited to see what else happens with Luffy and everyone else who's in the prison camp. Kid, Caribou, the mysterious samurai. I assume who is the samurai. I can't wait to see what happens with Sanji being attacked by these assassins sent from Queen. Um, and I definitely want to see more of the beloved Oiron of Wano country. Like, she is definitely interesting me right off the bat. And I really want to know if my theory is true. So there's that as well. But yeah, tell me, like I said, in the comments below what you thought, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.